Today we're going to be loading the 6.8 SPC. SPC is not special like some people think. 6.8 special. It's actually special purpose cartridge. It was developed by the Army. Our components today, we have the Hornady custom grade dies. That's what we're going to be using. The press, I think I pointed out before, was the Hornady AP press. Alright, we're going to be using the Hodgdon benchmark powder, which I've already had filled into the canister here. I have unprimed brass from Hornady. I have Hornady VMAX 110 grain, number 22721. This one here is the 270 caliber. It's actually, the diameter is 0.277 inches. Some good stuff here. I've been using a VMAX hunting for several years now and I really like it. It's my favorite bullet. A lot of people have theirs. That one's mine. And I have the CCI number 41 primers. These primers here were developed for the military. They're a little bit harder than a customary primer. You can use a small rifle primer. However, I guess there's been some issues with potential hang fires, or slam fires, which is when the bolt, when you fire around, the bolt goes back, and when it comes forward, if there's a thin primer on some semi-automatic rifles, the firing pin could bump the primer and set it off. These are just a little bit heavier. The book I'm going to be using is the Hornady cartridge book, 8th edition. This is the new one that just came out this year. So the first thing I'm going to do is some brass prep, which I have already done beforehand, but to show you what I did. Now I know this is unprimed brass, it's brand new, I know it's the proper length. I did take my measure and confirm that. I did not measure all of them, but I've spot checked 2 or 3 of them. I know they're all good to go. So first thing you want to do, what I like to do, you want to chamfer the inside and the outside. I have this one here is from Lee. I do not have one from Hornady. This one here came with my Lee kit, and I've been using that. I would like to upgrade eventually when it's getting a little worn out. So I'll probably grab probably a Hornady one since I have their stuff. I'll probably give it a try. So then, once you have all that done, the inside and the outside, and it's it's the proper length, it's good to go. Next, we're going to get the primer set. So you take a little cup there, ridge side, a little plate. Now, I had read, I believe it was in the Lee handbook, it recommended loading 10 at a time, 10 primers at a time. So I still stick to that. Just shake it until you get all the primers right side up. There we go. Put it on. Flip it over. Then you collect them up. And of course, like the rest of the reloading process here, you want to make sure you got safety glasses on when you do this. Probably not a big deal, but it doesn't hurt to be safe. Alright. So we're going to take this right here, set it in, pull that, and they all go down. Now, I think I mentioned last time that I've had issues with the last 1 or 2 primers. When they get to the bottom, they don't feed smoothly, and I've had issues, and that's really the only time. The last 1 or 2 primers, usually just the last 1 primer. I believe I found a fix for that last time. This rod that you use for pushing primers through, if I put this in here and just let this sit, It seems to be, even though there's hardly any weight to it, it seems to be just enough weight that it pushes that last one through. And I think the problem was just the last primer with this going back and forth that wasn't sitting in a hole and it'd get turned around. This is just enough weight where the last couple times I've loaded, I haven't had that issue. So I'm going to keep on doing that. I'm going to leave that little stick in there. So we're going to take some one-shot case lube. If I keep the straw in there. And you get each side. Obviously on the outside, but you want to get just a little squirt on the inside also. Alright, you might have noticed something. No, you're not going crazy. A minute ago, I had 15 bullets, cases, ready to go. Now you see 20. Kind of realized it's kind of weird to do 15 rounds. Actually, what happened, I did 5 the other day, and as my first batch, and tested them at the range to see how they did. And my intent when I had separated before, I was just going to do another 15 and make an even 20. Since I already fired those other ones off, I figured I might as well make a full box, so I'm doing 20 rounds. So, no, you're not imagining things. While I was off camera, I added 5 more. So, alright, we're about to get started here. This is my favorite part. I got a lot of excitement here. It's like Christmas, getting to reload. So remember, like I said, each stroke, you want to start a cycle, a pattern. So I'm going to start with that, put that in there. I'm going to double check here, make sure there's a primer, and there is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work starting here and go around with my pattern. Now I'm going to test. Now right now with this benchmark, I should be getting 26.3 grains, which is what I have it set at. It's just a little low, 25.8. I'm going to probably add a few grains here. And I have found out that I am not the only one who does this, even though you have the automatic powder feeder, I am not the only one who likes to go through and double check and make sure I'm good to go here with the scale also. We have 26.2, which is 0.1 grains off. So I'm going to dump this back. Good to go. So we're going to put this back in the same spot. So once again, we stick with the pattern. Put the new bullet in. Check the primer. Good to go. Check the powder on this one. .8. There we go. 26.3 exactly. So what I'm going to do, it looks like this is loading just a little bit light, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it out not far at all, probably like a millimeter. And one thing that's really cool here, let me duck in front of the camera again. What I like about this Hornady press, and I don't know if the other ones could do this too, I have no idea. But this comes out, this meter right here. So what you do when you have your die, when you're done with this caliber and you're going to get a new one, you can take this out, press the button, take this out, and stick it with your die. That way every time you load 6.8 SPC, you don't have to play with the metering a whole lot. You're going to get the same charge. And then you take another one and stick another one in there for your next caliber. That's something I thought was pretty cool. And I actually just discovered that not too long ago. I had been changing the meter in each different caliber, but I realize now I don't have to do that. So it's kind of cool. So, okay, so now we got that. Now the last step after checking the powder is we're going to put this bullet in. In, check the primer, good to go, check the powder weight, .26.4, that's very close. There we go, 26.3. Now with this benchmark here, powder, the max load that you want to load is 27.4. Nope, 26.3. And see, this is what I really like about this benchmark right here. It's a round, spherical powder, and it meters very well. If you remember watching if you've watched the 9.3 by 62 video that I did when I was reloading that caliber, if you remember, the powder is conical shaped and did not meter as well. This here meters really well. Once you get the system going and you get a pattern set out, you'll find it's very simple. And I do believe that the pattern is important for safety reasons. I think if you do everything in the exact same order every time, it's easier to keep focus and to remember what you're doing. So, and you know, if you remember, if you've watched the 9.3 by 62 video, if you remember, the bullet seat came down, and because it's such a tall round, I actually kind of had to hold this up and feed it in as the bullet went up. But I don't have to do that with this round because this one here is a pretty short round. In fact, it's the same length as the 5.56. It was designed to fit in the same magazine and all that. That noise is my sump pump kicking on every once in a while. It's getting a rainstorm out there. Yeah, see, these are all metering very well. Alright, so here I'm about to seat my last bullet. There we have 20 of them. So now, what I want to do is measure the length on them to make sure that they're the right length. And the length that we're going for is, we're going to have an overall length of 2.245 inches, which is what I had the bullet seater set to. And that's what I have. Alright, so I'm not going to go through all these, you get the gist of it. So this right here is how to load 6.8 SPC with the Hornady AP press. As always, if you have any questions, let me know. Semper Fi.